Good morning, Year 3. Today we're looking at adding fractions with the same denominator, and that is the number at the bottom of the fraction. So that is going to stay the same. We'll begin by looking at the in focus question, how to add fractions with the same denominator, and how to add fractions that make a whole, and then it's your turn. In focus question. So you've got two characters, you've got Elliot and Amira, and it says how much of the chocolate bar did the two children eat? So Elliot says, let's share this chocolate bar. I will have a piece. And Amira says, I will have two pieces. So I wonder how much of the chocolate bar they eat together. Think about what we already know. How do we start a fraction question? What do we always need to count at the very beginning? And have a go. Maybe draw it in your book. See what you come up with. So pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so if we look at the pieces, hopefully you'll have remembered to count how many pieces there were all together. There are 5 pieces altogether, so the denominator, the bottom number, is always going to be 5 because that's how many pieces there are all together, 5. So if Elliot eats one of the 5 pieces, he's going to have eaten 1/5 because he just ate one of the pieces out of the 5. So that's how we'd write the fraction, 1 line and then 5 at the bottom. If we remember, Amira ate 2 pieces, so she will have eaten 2/5. And again, that's how you write the fraction. The number 2 on top, because that's how many pieces out of the whole she ate, and 5 on the bottom, because that's how many pieces there were all together that she could have ate, but she didn't. So she had 2 of the pieces. And because we want in the question, it says to find out not just how many each individual ate, but how much they ate all together, we now need to add those 2 fractions together. So we found out Elliot ate 1/5 and Amira ate 2/5. So if we add those together, let's see what they equal. 1/5 add 2/5 must equal 3/5. Because if you look at the top, what the green circles show, Elliot had one of them, one part, and Amira had 2. And there's 3 altogether, because we know that 1 add 2 makes 3. And if you notice, the denominator, the bottom number of the fraction, remains the same. That has not altered. And that's because the amount of chocolate bar pieces there are altogether does not alter. So we've got 3/3 are eaten of the chocolate bar all together by the 2 children. And that's how we'd write it. 1/5 add 2/5 equals 3/5. Now if we're to look at another question and show how we can use the bar model and draw it, we can do this. So it says add 2/5 and 2/5, okay? And if you notice, there is 2 squares coloured in pink, another 2 squares coloured in green. So the first 2 is the first 2/5, and then you've got the next 2/5. And the dotty box is because there are 5 pieces all together, hence the denominator number of 5. So if we add those together, 2/5 add 2/5 will make 4/5. And hopefully you will visually be able to see, as well as looking at the fraction, that shows us that there's 1/5 still left that hasn't been eaten. Okay, if we move on to looking at a new in focus question, and this time we're looking at how we can make a whole. So we've got Holly and we've got Sam. Now it says Holly ate 1 slice of pizza and Sam ate 3 slices of pizza. How much pizza did they eat? Now remember what we said. What do we always begin with? What do we always count first? And for this question, there might be two ways of writing this fraction. So hopefully, have a little play around. You might even want to make it, the pieces yourself, cut something out, cut a circle out, cut the slices out yourself and put them to one side, 1 for Holly and 3 for Sam. And that's the best way to do these as well, to physically make them. You never know, you might be able to make a pizza and show it that way. But pause the video now and have a little go. So, if we look, we actually have 4 slices altogether. So that is going to be our denominator number, 4 pieces, 4 parts. And if we remember, Holly had 1 of the slices, so she had 1 quarter. So each piece is worth 1 quarter. And because Holly had 1, that's the fraction she had. Now you'll be familiar with this from looking at 1/4 in year 2. And we say 1/4 instead of 1/4 because it's a familiar fraction. So that's how we're going to talk about it if it has a number 4 as the denominator at the bottom. So that's how we'd write it as well, 1/4, or the fraction would just be 1 line 4. Okay, so Holly had 1/4 of the pizza, so she had 1/4, and if Sam had 3 parts of the pizza, I wonder what his fraction would be. His fraction would be 3/4 because he had 3 of the 4 parts. Okay, but the question didn't ask us to just find out what Holly had and then what Sam had, but how much they had all together. So we need to add them, don't we? So there's the question. How much did they eat all together? So I'm going to have Holly's slice, which was 1/4, add Sam's, which was 3/4. It makes 4/4. And because the numerator and the denominator are the same, okay, we call it a whole. And we can write the fraction as a number by just putting the 1. Okay, so Holly and Sam ate all the pizza, so there's none left whatsoever. Your turn. So go on to Google Classroom and you'll find your activities there for today. Have a go in your red book, draw it, make it, anything to help. Have a go.